From the awful comedy vault of yesteryear, it's time for Before You Were Funny, the most entertainingly bad sketch show the world has never seen. We forced our favorite comedians to go back in time and bring in their worst material and perform it to the best of their ability, unrehearsed. Today's episode, Mr. Spectacular with Andy Daly, also featuring Kristen Schaal and Paul Scheer. And now, your hosts, Justin Michael and Jacob Reed.
Hello and welcome to Before You Were Funny. I'm Justin Michael.
I'm Jacob Reed. We've got in the vault today Paul Scheer, Kristen Schaal, Andy Daly. This is a very special episode.
Yeah, Andy brought in an envelope that you mailed to yourself back at some point to copyright a sketch you thought was so good that you didn't want somebody to steal it.
That is the incredible part. Well, from what I understand, once you write something, you have copyrighted it, you know, but in order to prove that you wrote it at that time, one of the things you can do is you can mail it to yourself. Apparently, in a court of law, I could open this up and say, look, it's never been opened before. I don't know, at least that's what I was told. This is the opening of a time capsule. This is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say that in all the years since 1991, this sketch, I've never had to open this because no one has ever stolen these sketches.
Well, you don't know.
Look at this.
So that is...
It's authentic 1991 paper.
Wow. Look at that.
Through the magic of editing, what we're going to do is hand this off to our producer, Andrew, to make some copies real quick.
All right.
Okay, I am terrified. Here we go. Lost in the time capsule since 1991. This is Mr. Spectacular by Circus Big Top. Night. Two circus performers are waiting backstage as the big circus is going on. The younger of the two, Mark, is practicing his juggling. He is obviously quite nervous. The older one, Al, is leaning against a wall reading a newspaper, which was something you had in those days.
Of course, of course. Will you please stop that? You're starting to make me nervous.
At the sound of Al's voice, Mark drops his juggling balls clumsily and picks them up.
I'm sorry. This is my first night and I just want everything to be perfect. That's an accent.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Al, don't worry. A lot of people make the same mistake. The fact is, whether or not you can juggle doesn't add up to a hill of beans. You have to be able to charm an audience, make them want to take you home. If you can do that, you're all set. And all this practice doesn't mean crap.
I'm on board so far.
Really driving that home.
Right. We hear wild applause from inside the Big Top.
I like that you knew that you were supposed to capitalize sound-related things, but instead of capitalizing wild applause, the word here is capitalized.
The word here. Mark takes a deep breath and goes into the Big Top. Audience point of view as Mark jogs to center stage, does a spectacular juggling routine, putting his all into some very impressive juggling. When he's done, he looks at the audience nervously. They give a smattering of polite applause. Nice. Mark jogs off stage as Al jogs on.
They're always jogging. They're very...
A lot of jogging in this sketch.
We gotta keep the sketch
Time must
moving.
not be wasted.
Yeah.
Al has one juggling ball with him. Every moment of Al's is accompanied by a wildly exaggerated facial expression and ridiculous over-gesticulation. After every action, he gives a big ta-da pose, throwing his arms up in the air and smiling triumphantly. He tosses the ball up and catches it with his other hand, gives a big triumphant pose, and the crowd goes nuts. He drops the ball, picks it up, same thing. He walks in a circle, spits, and for his grand finale, he ties his shoe. After each, he poses and gets a big reaction. In the end, he takes several bows and jogs off to a standing ovation. This is a young man with contempt for the public. Mark is waiting backstage with a stunned look on his face. He can't believe what just happened.
Well, what do you think, kid?
You didn't do anything.
Al laughs tauntingly as a woman walks up.
Excuse me, sir. May I have a word with you?
Sure, what?
I'm Ellen O'Herlihy. The only way I can think of pronouncing it. Talent coordinator for The Tonight Show on NBC television.
With Johnny Carson?
That's right. Wow. I caught your act out there, and I think you would be perfect for our program.
It's almost like I intentionally dated the sketch. The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
What I like about it is that a talent booker is at a local circus. The Tonight Show talent booker is showing up. Where have you been finding the talent? Well, I've been at all the circuses. And
all the rinky-dink circuses. She hands him a business card. Al takes it excitedly.
Why don't you have your agent call me Monday?
I will, ma'am, I will.
He runs off as Mark throws down his juggling balls and walks away in frustration. Montage! Exclamation points!
The way it should always be.
Montage! Al in various wonderful poses doing various simple tasks on stage, such as kicking a soccer ball, patting his head and rubbing his tummy, hailing a cab. Each is done in his spectacular style. Cameras flash all around him, and we hear, once again capitalized, the sound of audiences going wild with applause. Maybe a few shots of people in the theater applauding.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe not.
We might not have enough applause yet, so.
Close on a magazine cover depicting Al in a glorious pose. The headline reads, "Hooray."
It feels to me like this is like written like you're like these dummies that get on TV, like you know.
There's a lot of anger in this
in
sketch.
me. Yeah,
This is
All
an
of
angry
the
sketch.
assholes who clap for them.
An angry defensive sketch that you felt like you should protect in this gruesome world of showbiz.
Commentary
And by the
on
way,
politics, it's a song and dance.
91. It's sort of like were you really embroiled in that? Like that's a lot of like you were young in your career.
I was 20.
Yeah.
I was 20, I was in college, yeah. Interior office night. Close on Al's face, he looks a good deal older. As we zoom out, we see that he's seated behind a desk with an American flag behind him.
My fellow Americans.
He looks confused for a moment, then strikes a huge smile and pose. We hear the sound of an audience applauding wildly, and the song "Hail to the Chief." He keeps posing and smiling. Fade out.
Wow.
First of all, you have a lawsuit on your hands.
Why?
Because this is very much the premise of the Robin Williams movie, where he is like the kind of the late night commentator, like the late night talk show host.
But I opened the envelope!
I know.
I can't prove it anymore!
It was here. It's here. It was like hail to. It was like the premise was like, what if Jon Stewart became the president of the United States because he was just like doing jokes and stuff like that.
Son of
It's
a
there.
bitch. Somebody did steal Mr. Spectacular.